Good morning and welcome. Let's see, good M-O-R-G. I don't like the way my computer is sitting. Okay, we are live, I believe, on this Tuesday morning. It's chilly and drizzly and cloudy. We got, I guess you might call it rain this morning. Hello, Cardinal Sin. Hi, Gil. Um, Lord, I'm all messed up because yesterday I had one of those headaches that make you just want to cut off your head. Sinuses, which probably was from the change in air pressure with the incoming rainstorm. So far, we haven't had much water hitting the ground, but it's something. Anyway, so I slept and then woke up and started griping to the cat because no one else is here. And then I slept some more, and then I woke up and wished I hadn't. And then I slept some more, so I've been up since about 1 in the morning because I got so much sleep yesterday. And the headache is merely an annoyance today, but it's still here. Yes, I used allergy pills for the sinus headache, and of course, they make me sleepy. Hi, Howard. I got Howard and Gil in the chat room. I'm disorganized. I put the tea kettle on and then started the show, but I haven't made my instant coffee yet because the tea kettle hasn't called me yet. You know it. They call it a whistle. I think it's a scream. Okay. What a day, what a week, what a month. We still have one crisis after another, makes your head spin, can't focus. And now the tea kettle's calling me, so I'll be back in a flash. Who's calling me? Nobody calls me. Jesus Christ. Come on. Hello? Speaking? I'm sorry, I'm busy. Not exactly spam, but uh yeah, they're selling something. Same company that called me 6 times yesterday, and I didn't have time to talk to them then. Yeah, Stragnet. Dum de dum, dum de dum de dum. Tora figured out that it's Tuesday, so she disappeared. She really doesn't like it when I make her say hi to her adoring fans. That's how cats are. I should close those curtains. They'll cut down on the glare. Mm. Dum-de-dum. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Oh, come on, close. No, come on. Here. Whoa. Up on the good foot, down on the bad. It's hell being short. Well, there she is. Come here. Come on, Tora. Say hello to your adoring fans. I know you love them too. You're just a kitty cat. Are you my good girl? Huh? Yeah, just say hello. All right, okay. Yes, I know you have to be paid to make an appearance. There, here you go, kid. That's a good kitty cat. Okay. Her full name is Tora Tora Tora, which was a pretty good movie. I had a visitor Sunday. I wanted to say yesterday, but it was day before. Very nice visit. And ordinarily, I'm a hermit. I especially don't do well in groups. But today I have to at least make an appearance at a going away party for a friend who's moving out of state. She too is escaping California. But I'm born and raised, and I don't think I'll ever escape. Oh, Witta is here, and so is Jan. We've got a good crowd today. I think the 8 o'clock time slot will work better than 9. Yesterday, I thought I was cursing Verizon. I thought my internet was down, but it turned out it was only Facebook that was down, along with some of their subsidiaries. Can't resist the candy corn. Friend and neighbor brought me a whole bunch of candy corn. Love it. It used to be my favorite part of Halloween because it was hard to find candy corn any other time of the year. Finally, the candy companies figured out that people like it all year round. Let me see. Cigarette. Anyway, gosh. I don't trust Republicans or Democrats, but at the moment, the Democrats are in power, so of course I trust them even less. China is emboldened. They're invading Taiwan's airspace with their military jets. Kind of test. And I don't trust those in power to do the right thing if China decides to take over Taiwan now. They actually took over Hong Kong. Wait a minute. Yeah, I got the right name, I think. And I think it's like 10 years early. They were supposed to keep their hands off for another 10 years. But they marched right in. Now, some people of Hong Kong escaped to England. It was a British colony after all, so they had British citizenship. But I don't think they can do that anymore. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people are leaving California. I want to stay and try to fix it. And I can't believe people who think that, oh, there's no cheating in our elections. There has always been cheating. Always. But, oh no, couldn't possibly happen. Not here. The difference now is that enough people with enough power and enough money want to do something about it. Like the 17,000 people in Arizona who voted twice, and a couple hundred dead people. It's common knowledge, even though you won't find an official acknowledgement, that every dead person in Texas voted for Lyndon Johnson. And Kennedy still beat him because the mob bosses in the Northeast made sure everybody voted for Kennedy. So, of course, somebody killed John F. Kennedy. I keep getting vague on the exact day. I think it was November 22 or 23. So let's turn to Google. Yeah, Google was down yesterday. Oh, I got the airport when I searched for JFK. Yeah, November 22, 1963. Oh, I thought they said he was born in 61. He became president in 61. Ugh, okay. Somebody shot him in the head. I don't believe it was Oswald, but oh well. Even if Lee Harvey Oswald did shoot JFK, he wasn't the only one. And it was not the first attempt on Kennedy's life. I'm sure LBJ was happy about it, even if he didn't have anything to do with it. But I guess they figured they couldn't get away with an assassination, so they Watergated Richard Nixon. A woman shot at Gerald Ford. A man shot Ronald Reagan. Ah, that glare is really something, and it's coming from a window behind the computer and hitting a chair. How weird. Anyway, maybe turning off the lamp will help. Not really. Okay. I'm going to have to move more furniture and get this set up a little farther that away. Reagan was not the same after he was shot, and he almost died. Didn't quite. Then we suffered through George Bush, and then two terms of Bill Clinton and 2 terms of Bush Jr. We had 2 terms of Barack Obama, 1 of Trump, and we're just getting started on Joe Biden. Trump was paranoid, and rightly so. He did not depend solely upon the Secret Service to protect him. He kept his own private security, and nobody shot him. Although I'm sure some people wanted to. I don't know what to make of Biden. He spends more time on vacation than he does in the White House. And his vice president is nowhere to be found. And the pundits, the experts say that's a good thing because they think she's incompetent. And there's actually a petition in the House of Representatives. I forget which representative introduced it, but it's an impeachment against both Biden and his VP, Kamala Harris. I don't think it'll go anywhere. But I'm not happy with any of these politicians. I kind of like the senator from Louisiana, a Republican named John Kennedy. I like to see clips of him on YouTube. He seems to use words that we can all understand, and what he says is pretty much common sense, which doesn't seem to be very common in Washington, D.C. Yeah. Well, the only reason California still has Governor Newsom is because all the big tech firms are here, except the one up in Washington State. They shall remain nameless. Whoever you vote for, the government wins. Well, I'm not for anarchism. Anarchy. That's it. That can be rather chaotic and dangerous. But originally, the federal government was set up to fund itself solely on taxes on imports and exports. Nothing else. And it had 2 jobs. 1, national defense against foreign invasion, and 2, the regulation of interstate commerce. But lately, interstate commerce seems to govern something you make and sell in California because you bought one of the parts from Ohio. I mean, it's that ridiculous. Oh, and the waters of the United States can include a man-made pond that you dug and made on your own farm. And the government can tell you how deep it can be, whether you can keep it at all, what kind of water you can put in it, whether it can have fish or ducks or not. It can become a wildlife refuge if some wild bird just happens to land there and take a drink of water. Or if a moose comes along and laps up some water from your duck pond. It's ridiculous. In many places, notably Oregon, but I believe also California, you can't put out a rain barrel and collect the rainwater for your personal use. The rain belongs to the government. They collect the rain and the runoff and process it and sell it to you. Ridiculous. Jeez. And I live in a rural area. It is not an incorporated city. It's just a parcel of land in the county of San Bernardino. They send out at least once a year, sometimes twice, code enforcement agents to make sure you don't have any hazards, especially fire hazards, on your property. Well, it used to be that you couldn't have weeds more than 6 inches tall, but I guess they were having, they weren't having great success. People would get tagged and take a photo with a ruler showing their weeds were only 4 inches tall, not 6. So they changed the code. Your weeds can't be 4 inches tall. You have to cut them down or pull them up. And I've been tagged for, guess what? Lilies. Lilies are not weeds. The latest one was when they said I had used tires all over my property. I walked the whole yard. It's about 45 feet by 150, or at least 40 feet wide, 150 deep. And there's not one single tire anywhere on my property. So I wrote them back and said, you have the wrong address. And I didn't tell them where the property was that did have old used tires out front. Why help them in a job where they're so incompetent that they don't know what house they're looking at? Oh, Cardinal Sin is leaving. Bye. Catch you later. Okay. The worst thing is we're in the county, not the city. And they keep trying to hold us to the codes that apply only to the city, not the county. For example, they want you to keep your trash barrels by the side of your house. Well, my property is pretty flat, but my doors are on both sides of my house, not the front and back. I can't block that path with trash barrels. Just can't, because that's where my door is. Well, that's a city code, not a county code. And, oh, I'm looking for lumber prices to go down a little bit so I can have a porch where I had the awful, stupid porch finally ripped out. It was so poorly designed that water pooled up against my house and damaged my house. And when it got pulled out, we discovered that my gas line, a pipe that runs under the porch, was solid rust because the water would get in under the porch, but it had no way to get out. It's just freaking ridiculous. Horrible, horrible setup. Really stupid. But lumber has just shot up in price because of the crazy problems with, partly supply chain. Truckers are hard to find in any economy. It's hard work that really doesn't pay enough. And it can be very dangerous. But also because crazy environmental regulations to protect the trees end up causing huge forest fires in areas where the loggers were not allowed to take out a few trees and thin the forest so it would not be vulnerable to a wildfire. I hear a lot about, it's clear cutting. Yeah, well, you need a clear area between stands of trees so that if there is a fire, it won't crown it. When the trees are too crowded, the fire jumps from the top of one tree to the top of the next tree and just keeps going, and it's unstoppable. Whereas when the fire's on the ground, the trees that have fire lapping near the bottom of the trunk generally survive. And then what happens is certain pine cones from these trees, seeds and pine cones, won't sprout and make new trees until they've been through a fire. So if there's seeds and pine cones on the ground, the fire will open them up so they can grow, and the ashes that are left are really good fertilizer. Really sad note on, it was either Friday or Saturday. I think it was Saturday night. A local shop caught fire, a little antique store. The owners lived on the top floor of their shop. It's 2 stories. They lived up above the shop. And they were elderly and, didn't walk too well. But some local people saw the fire, and their upstairs had an outdoor staircase. So they ran up the stairs and rescued the 2 people, but the shop is a total loss. sad. But volunteers from all over the community are gathering plywood and nails and hammers and volunteers to board up what's left of the shop. I live in a great community, even if it is in California. Very fortunate for most of the people who live here. Wow. It's amazing. And there are a few I wish didn't live here, but most people here are very good people. We come together when there's a need, and no matter how little you have, there's always something you can do to help. Even if it's just a kind word or a hug. I'm not a huggy person, but okay, I'll hug you. Yeah, well, I am fortunate to live where I do. It's called Friendly Lane, and it is friendly. And the Baptist church is in walking distance, but not for me. My leg needs to do a little more healing. I might make it there if I use my walker, but then again, I might not. So, well, I'm not going to try it till I feel a little more steady on my feet. Oh boy. I'm just really, I think I've gone past angry to, I don't know what to call this feeling. There are still Americans in Afghanistan, and while actual retired military, including like Navy SEALs and Green Berets, and some of our representatives and even senators are working to help them get out, but not in their official positions in Congress, but just as private citizens. And the State Department has actually ordered neighboring countries not to accept Americans. The embassies, the American embassies, like in Tajikistan, they were ordered not to help Americans get out of Afghanistan. I guess it embarrasses the powers that be if someone else gets Americans out of danger. And then there's the border. That photo, you know, the Haitian man and the horse and the reins. It was taken from a long distance with a long lens, so it looks like the guy is running away from the horse, and it looks like he's being slapped with the horse's reins. But there's photos and video from other angles, and the Haitian man is actually by the horse's hindquarters, and he's running toward the front of the horse and trying to grab the reins. which is dangerous for everybody involved. The horse, the rider, and the man who's trying to grab the reins could all be seriously hurt or even killed. And the agent on the horse is pushing the guy's shoulder to push him away from the horse because he could get stepped on. Jeez. And all the while, the agents are escorting women and children and families, husband, wife, and children, into the U.S., while these single young men are charging at the horses and trying to disrupt them. And most of them didn't come from Haiti. They were living as refugees with refugee status in South American countries like Brazil, where it was better than Haiti, but America is even better. And these small countries in South and Central America are just overwhelmed. They don't have the ability to stop these huge caravans from crossing through their countries. They're begging us to help put a stop to the migration. It's badly affecting them as well. And now, well, let's see, our government wants to spend, I don't know, how many $1 trillion that we don't have. Yeah, there's good programs that need funding, and then there's pork, tons of pork. Maybe we'll get a few roads, bridges, and such finished, but at what cost? We can't pay for it. So what do they want to do? They want more IRS agents to chase down tax cheats. Well, I don't know about you, but I never, ever take the chance of cheating on income taxes. You can go to prison for that. If anything, I overestimate my income in case there's some payment I forgot that isn't in the documents that I'm using. Because once in a great while I might get paid cash and forget to write it down. And underestimate my deductions because I want to make sure that they're all legitimate and not questionable. Wow. The lighting is changing a little. The glare isn't as bad on that side, but it's over there behind the kitchen. And the curtains just aren't that opaque. Anyway, I'm just disgusted by the whole thing. How did we get here? I can't blame Biden, and he can't blame Trump. It's something more. It's systemic. I know that I can't spend money that I don't have, but I guess the government can just keep on borrowing. Yeah, Witta, I think it is global. And it's horrible. More water. Yeah, I read Atlas Shrugged, but I don't believe there's any Galt's Gulch. If there is, you and I wouldn't be allowed in there anyway. No matter where you turn, it's the elites. Wealthy, entitled people who don't even know about how to shop at a grocery store. Once in a while, you see a clip of George W. Bush, the son. He went to a grocery store with his entourage and the press, and the clerk scanned the item and it went boop. And Bush goes, "Wow, what is that? How does that work?" Well, hi, Sleepy Dave. Not Lazy Dave, Sleepy Dave. So George Bush didn't do his own grocery shopping, so he didn't know about the little scanner with the infrared laser light that goes boop boop on your merchandise. Uh, Sorry about that. Wow. They're all like that. They don't know how real people live. People who work for a living and don't get some cushy job because of who their daddy or mommy is. People who really accomplish things, build things, make things. When Ernest Hemingway was asked how he wrote his stories, he said, "With my hands." And there's some truth to that. I mean, he did use a typewriter. On Social Security check to Social Security check. Last month, my books on Amazon brought in about $35, which was helpful. My son was able to help me in September. A friend overseas helped me in August. And this month, another friend chipped in. But I still have my GoFundMe going because it's getting to where I'll have winter heating bills. And that reminds me, I have to turn off the heater. Yeah. Oh, okay. It is off. I had to run it for a while. It's mostly cold in the morning now, but we do get snow here, and when winter sets in, the heating bills will skyrocket. All summer long, my gas bills were around $10, sometimes $20 a month. Now, the most recent one is $45, and it will go up to about $100 a month or more as it gets colder and colder. The electric bill was around $10 a month, mainly to run the refrigerator, but I've had to use the little portable electric heater here and there because the gas heat does not reach to the kitchen or the bathroom. And I don't want the pipes to freeze. And I don't want my feet to freeze. Anyway, I'm disgusted with all the Republicans and all the Democrats. But I'm glad that this crazy so many trillions of dollars is being held back for the time being by people, by politicians who refuse to vote for it because it would be career suicide. Nobody would vote for them. And I don't think there will be any more significant cheating in elections with all the audits going on. I can't believe 17,000 people in Arizona voted twice and nobody noticed. Biden won Arizona by a little over 10,000 votes. But they are not telling us who got those 17,000 extra votes. Maybe they were all for Trump. Maybe they were all for Biden. We don't know. We do know that it shouldn't happen. And then there's it's either Georgia or Michigan. People were carrying backpacks and boxes full of votes to the drop boxes, and in those states that is not allowed. It's illegal. You're only supposed to deposit one, your own vote. Oh, tribal members in Arizona voted for the first time? Many of them? Hi, V. That's interesting. I'm all for vote by mail. I vote by mail now because it's between difficult and impossible for me to get out to the polls. I'm not for somebody voting by mail and then going to the polls and voting again. Oh, and there was the story of a nursing home that had 95 beds, but over 300 people voted from that, giving that nursing home as their address. That's weird. Now, I do imagine that there is a case to be made that homeless people have to make up a mailing address, but I have a feeling there's more going on than homeless people with these fake addresses. We need to clean it up, even if Biden won. I'm not a Trumper. I do believe that things were going better when Trump was in office, in part because Congress would not go along with some things he wanted to do. But I am for the border wall. If walls don't work, why do all these rich people like Nancy Pelosi have walls and fences, 20-foot fences around their homes? And the wall is really a glorified fence. But it sent a message. If nothing else, it said, stay out. You're not welcome. We need to make it more reasonable to come here legally. Our system is broken. Oh, Dave, yeah, the Supreme Court might be packed, but the executive branch is disobeying the Supreme Court. They were ordered to reinstate Remain in Mexico. It hasn't happened. They were ordered to end the moratorium on evicting people who haven't paid their rent in 6 months or a year. Hasn't happened. Well, I think it ends at the end of this month or in the middle of October, something like that. It isn't as if anybody is helping the landlords to pay their mortgages without any rent income coming in. There is a thing called Section 8 housing where the government will subsidize your rent and pay a part of it. Apparently, it's easier to just demand a moratorium on evictions than to apply for government aid. Yeah, the whole system is a mess. You know, if the if we took all the money from all the rich people, it wouldn't even make a dent in our national debt. It's what, 30 trillion? So even if you took that $1 billion from a billionaire, drop in the bucket. And to whom do we owe that money? Well, apparently we owe a great deal of it to China. So maybe they want to start a war with China so we can decide not to pay that debt. The problem in Afghanistan was that we didn't owe them any money, so we couldn't stay there. Wow. Sorry you can't get a decent job, Dave. There are jobs here in California, but you have to be fully vaccinated and wear a mask and social distance. But there are people working at the Amazon warehouse. Oh, yeah, Bezos might have 177 billion, but that's still not quite 2/10 of 1 trillion, and our national debt is 30 trillion. Oh, that's Witta, not Dave. Okay, sorry. Anyway, a trillion in America is what they call a billion in England. They go million, thousand million, and then billion. But here we go million, billion, trillion. So in England, Bezos would have 177,000 million. Sorry, Dave, you can't get the Section 8. I applied for it many moons ago when I was a single mother with a toddler. 2 years later, they said I qualified, but they were out of funds. Well, by then I'd persuaded my husband to help me pay the rent. We were divorced. Yeah, in around 1980 or even 1990, you might have been able to pay off the national debt. Not now. Do you know that the Treasury Department will accept donations? You write a check to National Debt and mail it to the Treasury Department. Some people actually send in pennies. It costs more for the postage than the penny you're sending. But they'll write a little note, this is for the national debt, and they'll put a penny wrapped in the note and mail it to the Treasury Department. I wonder if they actually use it for that purpose. They're supposed to. Yeah, the Federal Reserve it's actually a group of private banks that make a fortune off of our debt. So they're very happy to see us spend like a sailor on leave, a drunken sailor at that. In fact, they make drunken sailors look like misers. Well, that's the only good thing Andrew Jackson did as president. He stopped a national bank. But what he did to the Native Americans was a crime of epic proportions. It was mostly Cherokee, but other tribes were just marched on the Trail of Tears from the East Coast into Oklahoma in the Badlands. Well, the Cherokee got some poetic justice because of the minerals, the oil and the other minerals on their land. They became wealthy. But at this point, the Cherokee are pretty much out of money. They do take care of other smaller tribes that don't have many resources. Oh, yeah, Dave. Yeah. Well, I was talked into getting the vaccine. I got the Pfizer shot, but like many people, I did not take the second shot because the adverse reaction was severe, painful, and long term. It's a shame you can't get someone to either take your child to school in the morning or pick her up at the end of the school day. See, back when I was a kid, neighborhoods had a variety of people, different ages. So mom could usually park me with the retired couple of two doors down from our house if she couldn't be home when I walked home from school. Oh goody. Well, in Israel, if you've had COVID and it's documented, you only have to get one shot. There's studies showing that if you've had COVID, you have much better and longer lasting immunity than the shot will provide. Mm. And study was done in Israel, and they compared people who had COVID and got a shot with those who had COVID and did not get a shot. Well, WITA, you can't always document that you've had COVID. Lots of people probably had it and didn't even know it because if you're young and in good health, you're likely to have no symptoms, maybe a runny nose, like I had during the swine flu epidemic in the late 60s. I had a runny nose while I was a teenager. Let's see, trying to think. I think I was 14. I don't know, Oswald, about how many nurses have refused the shot in my county. But I do know that in New York, hundreds of nurses are quitting. Not, not so much on medical grounds as that they don't like being told that they have to do something. It's a matter of your right to medical privacy and medical choice. Yeah, well, like this, they're pushing statin drugs on everyone to lower your cholesterol. The side effects of those statin drugs are worse than simply having high cholesterol. And you can lower your cholesterol by eating a healthful diet. No more McDonald's. And by the way, I don't worry about high fructose corn syrup because I studied pre-medicine. You know, all the courses you have to take before you can go to medical school. And frankly, it's just sugar. And sugar is sugar. Just don't eat a lot of it. Unfortunately, my beloved candy corn is almost 100% high fructose corn syrup. It's all sugar. But I try not to sit there and eat the whole thing, the whole bag. Besides, there's also chocolate. And, you know, other things. Read the labels on processed foods and you'll find out there's sugar in just about everything. And contrary to popular opinion, eating fats does not make you fat, and it does not increase your cholesterol any more than eating sugar. Other carbohydrates like flour, potatoes, cornstarch, those other carbohydrates are broken down into sugar. But the nice thing is that potatoes, flour, not sure about cornstarch, but potatoes and wheat flour have other nutrients like protein and vitamins and minerals. Yeah, I use powdered non-dairy coffee creamer, but I draw the line at flavors. If I want vanilla flavored coffee, I'll put in some vanilla extract. If I want chocolate coffee, I'll put in, well, probably Hershey's syrup, but I should put in cocoa powder. No sugar in that. Dave can't park or he'll get CPS called on him. I don't understand that. Anyway, oh, I see. You can't leave your daughter with a sitter because they'll call CPS. That's nice. I've had CPS called on me twice during my son's childhood. The first time, they said, well, I forget exactly how old my son was, but he was just a toddler. They interviewed him at his school, and they were impressed that he knew my full name, my true age, his address and phone number, and all that stuff that you're supposed to teach your child, so if they ever get lost, they can tell people, how to contact your parents and stuff like that. Well, I was like, well, doesn't everybody teach their kids that stuff? No, apparently not. The second time, see, they wrote it off as a crank call because they found nothing wrong. The second time, they came to my house and asked me, do you have any idea who made this complaint? Because they sound totally insane. I said, yeah, I think I know who it was, and she has problems. They looked in my refrigerator, and there was plenty of food. There were a lot of dirty dishes in the sink, but it wasn't like it didn't smell bad or anything like that. I didn't leave them that long. And they were impressed by how many books I had. Well, Dave, I cough mostly because I smoke, and coffee can set off a coughing jag for me. But I don't put non-dairy creamer in my coffee, only in my um, tea, unless I actually make real coffee. But most of the time I'm drinking instant coffee, so I don't need to mellow it out with creamer. Oh boy. It's been an hour and 12. Okay. And I really have nothing to talk about, although um, I hate to just leave, but man, like I said, I've been up since 1. I kept napping yesterday because of the sinus headache. I took a chlortrimeton and slept a few hours, woke up, still had the headache. So I took a Benadryl and slept a few hours. Then the phone rang and woke me up. So whoever it was, I hung up on them and went back to sleep. So I had plenty of sleep, but at the wrong time. It was all day long instead of all night. And now I'm getting sleepy. Yeah, it might rain some more here today. Probably not. The sun seems to be poking through, but the wind out of the north might blow in more clouds. I have a couple things to do today. I have to drop by the going away party for an old friend who's leaving California. And then I have to be on a Zoom meeting to help a friend who can't attend. So I'll be taking notes for her. She writes for the paper. There's a campaign. Oh, yeah, eggs were bad, and then eggs were good. Avocados were bad, and then avocados were good. I eat what I like, and if all I want is bacon, I'll cook a bunch of bacon and eat it. I was going to make a BLT, but the lettuce went bad, so maybe it'll be a BL, BT, bacon tomato. Yeah, maybe I'll just cook the bacon and eat it. I do like a fried egg sandwich. I could put bacon on that. That sounds good. I discovered the fried egg sandwich when I was going to the junior college. I'd go to the cafeteria for lunch. I get a fried egg sandwich and a bottle of orange juice. And that was my lunch. It was cheap and nutritious and oh so good. Oh, rain's coming down on a sunny day. Yeah, have you ever seen the rain? Of course, I put mayo on the egg sandwich. That's, if it isn't, it should be kosher. You just can't put mayo on the chicken sandwich because you're eating the chicken and the egg. And I don't eat kosher, it just came to mind. Yeah, poor Dave. There used to be after school programs where your child could stay for an extra hour or two. Yeah, you wouldn't leave. We don't get to know our neighbors anymore. I mean, when I was a child, I didn't misbehave when I was outside because the neighbors would call my mother and tell her. She would know what I had done before I got home. And there was usually one house where you just didn't go. Uh, Not that they were necessarily dangerous, it was just that they didn't like children and didn't want us bothering them. So we didn't. I know what Toad in the Hole is, but that isn't, oh, Oswald, that might be what you call Toad in the Hole. uh, uh, yeah, that's what we did in home economics in seventh grade. Take a Cheez-It glass and make a hole in the middle of the toast. Well, now I use a cookie cutter. Uh, and you fry the egg in the middle of the toast. But in England, a toad in the hole is, it has potatoes and sausage. It's a kind of casserole. I might try it someday. We didn't call the egg and toast a toad in the hole. We just called it a fried egg with toast. Ah, bah. Sometimes I do that at home, but usually I just make toast and you fry an egg or two and break the yolks and get them thoroughly cooked. Put mayo on the bread and slap the fried egg on there. And I like to finish up the egg with a little butter to make it extra creamy tasting. Oh, you saw V for Vendetta, eh? Yeah, I've seen that a couple times. Oh, I don't like the final uh, section of that movie where he locks her up until she's free mentally. Don't like that part, but oh well. It's an interesting movie. Anyway, it's time to get a going, I think. It just, I kind of have a little bit of a diverse neighborhood here. Um, Different ethnicities, religions, ages, family composition. Shut up, phone. It's just telling me that Facebook posted something. Facebook was down yesterday. Just, I guess, right before or during the whistleblower testimony. Or was it right after? Anyway, they claim it was an accident. Their update messed up their DNS. So the internet bots couldn't resolve their whatever. And I discovered that I can live without Facebook. Oh, they call the queen toad in the hole. Okay. I've learned too that British food doesn't have to be bland, although much of it is. If I ever go there, I'm going to go to a pub and I'll have to decide whether I want bangers and mash or bubble and squeak. And it'll turn out that, oh, we don't call them that anymore. That was so 90s. But I'll bet they have toad in the hole. Ah, making myself hungry, but I'm also tired. I'm supposed to cover my mouth when I yawn, but my arm was slow. Um, Definitely gonna fry up some bacon, and we'll see about the egg. And toast. Yeah, toast. I also have my Braunschweiger, which is smoked liverwurst. Braun, Brown, Schweiger, Schweiger. It's liverwurst that's been smoked. And I have the sourdough French bread like Dad always used for his Braunschweiger. And plain old yellow mustard. Oswald, I guess that's a joke. The full English breakfast is like, who in the world could eat that much all at once? There's sausage and or bacon. There's potatoes, black pudding, beans, mushy peas, and I think there's more, but that's all I can remember. Oh, of course, mashed potatoes. Yeah, I think I mentioned those. Oh, well, let's see. Bangers and mash would be sausage and mashed potatoes. Bubble and squeak would be, I think that's mashed potatoes and mushy peas. Think. Let's see. I wonder if Google knows. You never know what Google is going to tell you. Bubble and squeak. Cooked potatoes and cabbage mixed together and fried. Oh, yeah, the squeak would be the cabbage. Okay. Now let's look up bangers and mash and see if I got that right. Sausage is served with mashed potatoes. Yeah. Okay. Although the English are learning our words in some cases faster than we're learning theirs. Yeah, apparently bubble and squeak is cabbage and potatoes fried up. Thank you, Jan. I imagine mushy peas is pretty much the way I eat peas. Oil them up and drown them in melted butter and then kind of push on them with a fork. Don't like the peas that come out of a can unless they're dumped into a pot of soup, then they're acceptable. But I'd rather have them fresh or frozen. Don't have any cabbage. I do have Brussels sprouts, which are like, they look like golf ball sized cabbages, but they have a lot more flavor than a cabbage. Yeah, cook them up and drown them in melted butter and add a little salt. And I like the Brussels sprouts overcooked. And by the way, I have not forgotten that last week some of you wanted my recipe for homemade soup posted somewhere. I haven't done it, but I will. Probably on my blog, maybe on Facebook, in addition. There isn't room for it on YouTube. Maybe in a video description. I don't know. Oh, and by the way, after lots of thought and research and more thought, I've decided that it would not be in my best interest to monetize this channel. You can always send me PayPal or I should put my mailing address, my P.O. box on there. You can write a note, whether it has money in it or not. Doesn't matter. I like to hear from people. But, I'm getting by now, but like I said, the winter heating bills are upon us, even though it's just barely autumn. So they're gonna just destroy anything like a budget that I used to have. So I'm gonna have to get going. Probably need a nap before I can fry up some bacon for breakfast. My sleep and wake schedule is totally messed up. So thank you all for listening and have a great day. Our post office won't handle mail to and from Australia, New Zealand, and 21 other countries? Dang it, Jan. Well, I guess Australia and New Zealand are afraid of the virus. I'm going to have to look that up. Let's see. USPS stopped service Australia. Yeah, USPS will not send packages to Australia, and it won't handle some other international services to Australia. I don't see anything about other countries. Wow. That's a shame. No, it's well, I'll look into that, and if I can get enough info, maybe I'll come on YouTube again. But I'm really, really tired. Oh, the Sydney Morning Herald website. That's good to know, Witta. It's almost certainly due to the virus. You know, we Americans apparently are all super spreaders. Thanks, Jen. I'll try to stay safe and get rest. Wow. Just had a good and plenty because it's often the only way I can find real black licorice. The real thing. Not flavored corn syrup. Oh, people quitting over vaccines. That's interesting. Oh, at the international, the ICS, I forget what they're called. International something that processes the mail. Okay, well, I'll check that later. It's time to settle in for the long haul. I hope you have plenty of canned food just in case. Just in case things get crazy. Oh, and I doubt that our market will run out of toilet paper ever again, but some of the other shelves are looking bare. Due to slow shipments, truckers have had it. It's like various restrictions are just they're not putting up with it. Bye.